Caesar King's name makes no sense. Don't get me wrong, it's not like a bad name or anything like that. Caesar is a very iconic name that is very much well known in salads and high school plays around the world. It just doesn't make any sense for the faction, the Sons of Calydon, because Caesar and Calydon have nothing to do with each other. This normally isn't really an issue in games in general, but Hoyo is a bit different with their historical and mythological inspirations. They always match, and they always allude to something that's going to happen. I mean, a great example from ZZC is Kors, Kolida, and Belobog Industries. They are all specifically deities from Slavic mythology. So, in that case, why did they choose a Roman-inspired character for a Greek-inspired faction? To answer that, we're going to go over a bit about the significance of the name Caesar, what even is Calydon, and what this all could even mean for the Sons of Calydon's future lore. All I can say right now is, well, Caesar might find herself in a very unfortunate situation. With that all being said, let's just get into it. So, in order to start this off, we're going to have to go through a little bit of Roman history.
Looking down from heaven right now.
Hey, you there, come on. Wake up. I know for some of you history may not be the most interesting subject out there, and you probably haven't touched Roman history since 8th grade, but it is necessary sometimes for these theories. And hey, at least I'm more entertaining than your 8th grade history teacher. Or at least I hope to be. So, you may have heard of the name Caesar before, maybe from the salad, the Shakespearean play, or even the big hotel in Vegas. But it is all inspired by Julius Caesar, Roman general turned Roman dictator turned Roman mincemeat. Julius Caesar was originally born into a noble family. Through charm, political know-how, and determination, he became a part of the Council of Rome. And to get away from his political enemies, he became a general. Now, the only thing you really need to know about General Julius Caesar is that he was very, very accomplished as a general and a very brilliant tactician. And when his political enemies in Rome tried to get rid of him, he marched his army on Rome itself, proving that the pen is only mightier than the sword when the sword's not pointed at you. At this point, he became dictator of Rome, which was supposed to be only temporary, but his reforms and policies were so good, he got himself the title dictator for life. Now, this basically made him king, which was against the beliefs of the Roman Republic, and so 60 of the senators of Rome surrounded Caesar and offed him. And famously, one of the senators was his close friend, Brutus, who he himself pardoned in the past. Now, going back to Zenless, what does this all even mean? For one thing, the members of the Sons of Calydon all have certain aspects of them that are Roman-inspired. Caesar King is obviously a reference to Julius Caesar. Bernice White is probably a reference to Berenice, lover of the Roman Emperor Titus. Even Lucy and her little piggy Hamlets are all Roman-inspired. Now, what is really interesting is the name Caesar, beyond anything else, is famous for one thing, other than salads: betrayal. It may not be immediate in the story, but down the line, I think Caesar King may find herself in a very tough situation. But we'll get more into that in the theory part of this video. First, let's talk a bit about what even is Calydon, the namesake of the faction. Calydon is an ancient Greek city with a few notable myths associated with it, one of which is very much what the Sons of Calydon is a reference to. In ancient Calydon, there was a king named Oeneus who forgot to honor Artemis, the Greek goddess of the hunt during the harvest festival. And to remind why she's probably the worst goddess to forget exists, she sent a giant murderous boar to absolutely rampage all of Calydon. So the king calls for all the bravest hunters in the local area, and among them is the only female classical Greek hero, Atalanta. At least you had one, Greece. All the other hunters were male and apparently afraid of cooties because they didn't want to go on a hunt with Atalanta. Which, on a side note, I never really understood the whole bias against women in ancient Greece. Like, some of the most dangerous deities were women. Like, why are you denying a female hunter from hunting when the goddess of the hunt is female? And also currently wrecking your ship. Actually, you know what? That might actually make sense, considering how this whole mess started. Anyways, the Caledonian prince, Meleager, convinces all the male hunters to go on the hunt with Atalanta by goading them that they are afraid of a girl who would beat them in a hunt. Really knows where to hit them where it hurts. Atalanta, being the badass she is, draws the first blood on the mighty boar, and Meleager kills it by stabbing it in the neck. As a reward for drawing the first blood, Atalanta was given the hide of the Caledonian boar. Now, you can probably already draw a few references of the myth in the Sons of Calydon, most notable being the boar imagery everywhere. The logo of the Sons of Calydon Calydon is a boar. Lucy's little soldiers are also boars. Another thing is that it currently seems like there's only one male member of the Sons of Calydon, which is a flip from what happened in the myth. So from this, we can kind of make assumptions that the Caledonian boar hunt myth is going to be a basis of some of the Sons of Calydon's characterizations and or story. Now, this all comes to the question of how is it going to play into that? Hey, sorry for interrupting your regularly scheduled program, but I wanted to mention that this is my first Zenless Zone Zero theory, and if you liked it and wanted me to cover more ZZZ, please let me know by liking, subscribing, and or commenting. I know everyone says this, but honestly, it really does help when I'm trying to test these things out and know what theories to prioritize. Now, let's get back to the theory. So, I think many of you may have caught on to what I meant when I claimed that Caesar King's name really doesn't make any sense. The whole faction is referring to the Caledonian boar hunt. Caesar's name should really have been a reference to Atalanta, but instead it's all Roman-based names. Even their motto, I come, I see, I crash, is a reference to a famous Julius Caesar's quote, Veni, vidi, vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. They could have very easily made all the characters Greek-inspired with Greek references and dresses and names, but they didn't. Why is that? There has to be something about Romans and specifically Julius Caesar that has to do with the lore or story of the biker gang. So here's what's currently going through my head. The name of the gang might represent the mission of the Sons of Calydon, while the characters' names represent what's going to happen to the characters. What if the gang's goal is to find something, that they are hunting for something, and it is a mission given to them, and they might get a huge prize at the end of it all? It may not be a magical, angry goddess boar, but the concept of hunting or seeking something might play into a huge underlying goal for the gang, other than obviously freedom and strength, of course. Another point of interest is that Atalanta was supposedly a part of the Argonauts, Jason's ship in the search of the Golden Fleece, which was a sign of kingship. And Caesar, king, definitely cares about being seen as, well, a king. So it could be that the Sons of Calydon are looking for their own version of the Golden Fleece that would somehow solidify Caesar's rule or authority over other gangs. Now, you may have noticed something very apparent about the Sons of Calydon and the fact that Caesar has a lot of things referring to her as a king. There's actually another Greek hero this might be a reference to, Caenis. Caenis was the Greek princess that had some fairly unsavory things done to her by Poseidon, and because I guess he felt bad about it, granted her one wish, and she wished to become a man. And so Caenis became a man and one of the strongest heroes of his time. He became a king and supposedly joined the Argonauts and also participated in the Caledonian boar hunt. See where I'm going with this? Now, Julius Caesar's story has to play a big part in Caesar King's story, and I think it's actually very simple. Julius Caesar is famed for one major thing, as we said before, other than salads. Julius Caesar won countless times, whether it was politically or in the battlefield, and at the end of it all, he won kingship. And then he was betrayed. And that might actually reflect the story of Caesar and the Sons of Calydon, winning gang war after gang war, taking territories and gaining influence, and when Caesar has her crown, her golden fleece, she gets betrayed. As to who might be the Brutus in this, the betrayer? Well, to be honest, it could be a character we haven't met yet, since historically Julius Caesar pardoned Brutus and gave him a seat in the Senate. So it could be a character that we meet later that Caesar welcomes back to the gang that becomes her end. As to what I think, well, I did say Bernice White might be a reference to Berenice from Roman history, but Bernice could also be a reference to Brutus. And that's the theory for me. Well, I will say one last note on this theory. It is possible that the Sons of Calydon might be a reference to the Sons of Anarchy TV show that was about American bikers, but there's a couple of reasons why I didn't really mention it in this theory. One is the pure fact that this game is from China, and it would be kind of hard to believe that the Sons of Anarchy would have a major audience in China, considering how tough it is to get a specifically modern American shows there. Secondly is simply I've never watched it, and so I don't really have the ability to speak on that. With that all being said, thank you so much for watching. If you like these type of theories, let me know by liking and subscribing, and as always, I love reading your little thoughts and theories in the comments below. Have a nice day, everyone, and peace.